it's Hope McCutcheon, and first of all, welcome to actually the first Ce2 of 2024, because we had a little weather in January, so definitely missed you guys last month. It was a tough call, but a necessary one, so we're excited to be here, and we will try to reschedule. Well, we will not try, we will do it, reschedule the speakers that were supposed to be on last month, but really excited to host you today, and a couple of organizations pulled this together. Let's see, CBIC, Charlottesville Business Innovation Council, the CIC, which is Community Investment Collaborative, the SBDC, Small Business Development Center, and then the Batten Institute is a sponsor along with Watermark Design, and we're very grateful to Code-Based Co-working for allowing us to utilize this space and supporting the event as well. So, how many of you all, this is your very first time attending Ce2? Let me see your hands. Awesome, great. Well, welcome, glad to have you. So I'll give you a quick rundown of how today's organized. We begin with an early stage speaker. So an early stage company that will share about their company, and then they'll have an ask for the audience. So it's an opportunity for you to help them grow to the next level. And then we have a seasoned entrepreneur. We call it crash and learn, not crash and burn. Maybe it burns before they learn from it and move on. So just some lessons learned as an entrepreneur. And that's just a really engaging, fun section as well, where we have Q&A after. So definitely crowd engagement and participation for this. And so we can go ahead and get started with our first organization that we're going to be sharing from. So I want to introduce Heather Kunk and a little bit about her background. She actually grew up in Clearwater, Florida. She went to UF and got a bachelor's in health education and behavior, and then went to UT and got another bachelor's. That one was in nursing. And then she came to Charlottesville for her husband's residency. So they're both actually in the medical field. She has been a nurse for 13 years, currently at Centera Martha Jefferson. And they're married with 3 small kiddos, and she travels, does yoga, swimming, etc. And as far as what she's going to talk about today, she's actually a board member and volunteer at Bennett's Village. And I will say we typically don't necessarily have early stage in the nonprofit space, but we thought this was a good one to share this time around. So really excited to hear from Heather.
Thank you both. Thank you all for also being here with us and sharing your time this morning. I am here, as I said, with Bennett's Village. I'm also, Deb Aronson is also here with me today to answer questions. I'm going to go ahead and get started. We are Bennett's Village. So Bennett's Village is named after a little boy named Bennett, who, like all children, loved to play. Bennett dreamed of a place in his hometown where he could play independently in his wheelchair with family and friends. But he and his family had to travel over an hour from Charlottesville to achieve that independence and play independently. So we are proposing to build a place like Charlottesville does not have, a place like no other, a place for all to play. All abilities, all ages, and it's going to be at Penn Park here in Charlottesville. These are some of our concept designs. You can also take a closer look in the back at some of our posters. We are developing over 3 acres of land. We're doing it in phases. We're building it in 5 phases, in fact. We plan to break ground on phase 1, which will be an accessible treehouse this spring. So we've raised the funds that we need for phase 1 already, and we're very excited for this spring. This is a map of our phasing. I'm going to go into a little more detail about what we're planning to build in the different phases. But you can see, I wish I had a blinker, but the yellow is phase 1 where the treehouse will be, and this is a picture of how it's going to be built. It's going to be built actually off of a cliff. So when you go into the treehouse, you'll be fully immersed in the trees. This is really important because Charlottesville, as you all probably know, is just a vibrant community for the outdoors. Lots of hiking, lots of trails, climbing, and none of that is really accessible for people who maybe use a wheelchair or walker, assisted mobility devices, older people who might be at fall risk for various reasons. So this is something that will allow all sorts of people in all phases of life to get that outdoor experience that they want and need. As I said, with one treehouse, we're gonna have accessible paths that lead to the treehouse as well. This is another example of a treehouse, but less so what we're building. We are also gonna have electrical outlets in the treehouse. Those are for charging power wheelchairs, also charging cell phones, because a lot of times people who are in the medical world, who have a child with medical needs, are always on their phone, scheduling doctor's appointments, talking to the pharmacy, talking to home health, and so that battery gets worn down. So electrical outlets, when we had some community outreach, that was a need that was suggested to us for this treehouse. Eventually, some of these trails and paths will be connected to the Urbana Trail System in Charlottesville as well, and we're working with the city of Charlottesville to make those paths a little more accessible too. Right now, I think meet the ADA standards, but it's a pretty low bar. So we're definitely working to achieve that in the next few years. Phase 2 will include, it's all poured in place rubber. So poured in place rubber is great, again, for mobility needs. We're gonna have an elevated track. The elevated track will actually serve a few purposes, not only for exercise, but it's also really beneficial for people who have dementia because it serves as just a wayfinding mechanism because it goes in one circle, so they really can't get lost and wander off. The other plan for the track is going to be some areas of the track that kind of go up and down, like this. And so people who do use a wheelchair can get the effect that they're going on a slide because we couldn't really figure out from an engineering and safety standpoint how to make a slide for a person in a wheelchair. So this way they get that feeling that they're going down a slide, and I think it'll be a lot of fun for a lot of people. We're definitely going to have lots of seating and shaded spaces. Most parents, I think, in Charlottesville are going to be excited for both those two things. Whether you have a kid who has medical needs or not, or a senior who wants to be outside. Lots of the parks in Charlottesville playgrounds do not have shade, and so this is something we're being very mindful of for many different people. We're going to be mindful too of having calm spaces for a lot of children who maybe have autism or are neurodiverse or have sensory needs. Playgrounds can be a really exciting place, and they can get easily overstimulated. So we're being mindful to that community, building some calming spaces where they can kind of feel more safe and calm down if they need to. We're definitely also going to have different installations and equipment for all types of abilities as well. These are some ideas that we have with wheelchair merry-go-round, as well as some calming spaces and hidey holes, like I mentioned before. Phases 3 through 5 have a sensory garden, different nature playscapes, donut swings. I believe I have a picture of those here. No, I don't. I'm gonna add this in. We're gonna do a splash pad as well. It'll be the only splash pad on the north side of town. We are having a toddler play space. Bathrooms are huge. If you have an adult or even a teenager who has bathroom needs, it's really important to have a big enough changing table for them, and literally nowhere in Charlottesville, none of the parks have that yet. We are working again with the city of Charlottesville to have that stage of the project happen at the existing bathrooms. We don't know if we're going to be able to get the family restroom, but they're at least expanding it to be more wheelchair accessible for us. We're definitely going to have more signage to assist the nonverbal community, and we've already installed a communication board there as well. And at the very end of the project, we are going to enclose the entire space with a fence in order to prevent elopement both of the young and perhaps the older who might have dementia and other. These are some, we are basing our park on SOAR 365. I mentioned that Bennett's family had to go over an hour to play independently. And this is the park in Richmond called SOAR 365 that we are basing our space on. So these are just some pictures. I also, in my slide deck that I email out, have a virtual tour of their space, so you can actually really get immersed in that space and see that space. These are also some design ideas. We have various slides, paths, and again, all of it will be accessible. One of my favorite quotes that I've heard since I started volunteering with this project is, when we design for those who are often least considered, we support the needs of all. So whether you're a child using assisted movement devices, an adult caregiver recovering from an accident, or a grandparent with limited mobility who wants to join their family on an outing, everyone benefits from a place like Bennett's Village. As I've mentioned, we're considering this space for everybody, whether you have different needs or whether you don't, but some of the needs we're especially paying attention to are listed here: mobility limitations, sensory processing, developmental delays, neurodiversity, visual and hearing impairments, assisted animals, and as I said, full range of abilities as well. So everyone can play, explore, and learn together. I think it's equally as important for children who have all their abilities and children who do not to play together in one space and be exposed to that, and it'll be a really truly magical place. Where we are now, so as I mentioned, we're going to break ground spring 2024. We've raised over $500,000 so far. I'm going to be honest with all of you. We are all volunteers. We only have one paid staff member right now, and she's contracted and sitting with me today. But all the rest of us are volunteers. It's been pretty grassroots. A lot of spaghetti dinners, restaurant fundraisers, raffles, silent auctions, raffles. Again, this is not what I do professionally. I do not have a background in public speaking. I do not have a background in making presentations. This is the first time I've used Canva. And so we're a startup. We are a startup nonprofit, but we are pretty thrilled at the progress that we've made so far. And we are especially thrilled to be able to break ground on the first phase of our project in the way that we've done it. Our total projected cost, phases 1 through 5, is about $6 million. So phase 2 is about 1.6. So phase 2 is going to be a much heavier lift than phase 1. And so that's why we are here today, because we know that we need help and we need advice and expertise, and we really want to take this to the next level. And so that's why we're here. So the goals for today, kind of our pitch, our ask. I think we need marketing feedback the most. Do you think our story and graphics are clear and compelling? What's missing from our presentation? How else may we share our story to the broader Charlottesville community? The other things I want to add, sometimes in my presentations, especially to donors, I have statistics that I put in here about disabilities, the importance of outdoor play and recreation for all people, all ages. I also tell my personal story as well, why I'm personally involved with the project. I wasn't sure how much time we had today, and I knew this group was a little bit different than a donor group that I usually present to. And also, I was a little more nervous to present to you all today than a donor group, because I imagined a Shark Tank situation. But you all seem very nice, very nice sharks, so it's good. But that is our ask, that is our goal. We want to take this to the next level and be successful and do this for Charlottesville, everybody in Charlottesville. And so that is what we would like help on and advice. This is a link to our website. We are working on a QR code that links it directly to our website versus the donor one, so I apologize for in the back, it's not the right QR code. But this is our website. I wonder, our website needs a little update as well. Thank you all so much.
Yeah, so can you move back to the slide that had the ask on it?
Yes.
So this is what they would like some feedback on today.
So first of all, thank you so much for this presentation. So I live in Richmond, and so my family frequents SOAR quite a bit, and it's phenomenal. It's a phenomenal park, and I think that would be a great asset to Charlottesville. I think one of the things that you might want to think about, like as I think about SOAR, is they have this shed that is always booked for birthdays and stuff like that. So potentially, what are the revenue generating opportunities that might kind of make this a sustainable project, right? And I know that they have a planting kind of shed in the back where they do things, and so you might want to consider that. As far as the breakdown for costs, perhaps a little bit clearer of a breakdown of costs and where money is going and why would it cost $6 million, for example. And then do you have approvals from the city? It wasn't clear to me that that was communicated in the deck. But I would assume if you're starting phase one that you have approvals already, so perhaps you can add that to provide some confidence to whoever is going to be donating that we already have the approvers that are necessary.
Totally. In response, and it jogged my mind, what you first said about revenue, I realized that I didn't mention our relationship with the city of Charlottesville, which I do usually go into. So we are working with the city of Charlottesville. They've given us the space at Penn Park, and they basically told us if you raise the money and build it, we will maintain it after. So that is the relationship that we have with the city, and now we're working with them. Our board members are meeting weekly with them as far as planning goes and legal agreements. And I hope that answers your question in that regard. I do think that an event space is an awesome idea, especially in earlier phases. I think that's huge, and that would be a good way to generate revenue. I'm gonna ask Deb to come up here too and just tag team with me. One of the things I realized is I don't have all the answers. I mean, I knew that early on, but Deb does. And so I always like bringing somebody else with me too, because I don't think of everything. And these are such great questions. Thank you so much. That was really good feedback.
Hi, I just wanted to address the sort of revenue generating question, because I think that's interesting. SOAR 365 in Richmond was actually built by an existing nonprofit called ARC 365, or not ARC, Place 365 is the park, SOAR 365 is the organization. Venice Village was founded with the primary purpose of building this play space. So there is no sort of nonprofit that would be over time using, maintaining that space. I know that SOAR 365 actually has volunteers that take care of it, that they do those events. So we don't have a specific plan at this time. Once this is built, if the organization Venice Village will or will not have that kind of participation in the life of the space. The city has agreed to maintain it. We're trying to get it built. That feels like the list right now. So it's hard to say what will happen, but I totally agree with you about that.
I think part of my questions was answered partially about the municipalities. I'm interested in your negotiation with the municipalities, that they don't see this as an added value, and you may want to contribute on the front end to it. Not just the city, but the county also, because this will be one of a kind for the area. Maybe other, multiple municipalities will contribute to this. And then the other thing is that contextually, I know the YMCA is in that same part, and what is the communication with the other partners that are in the area? That was the question of mine. But, everybody can use marketing uplift, so I'm sure you'll get that over time. But those are my two main questions: YMCA and then other municipalities seeing the added value that they might contribute on the front end, that will contribute to that $6 million mark faster.
Well, just to clarify, the YMCA is in McIntyre Park, Penn Park is the park on Ryo Road. Yeah, yes.
Sorry, I
No,
missed
no, no,
that.
that's okay. I still think the Y should be involved. It's not that far, but I totally hear you. We have gotten, money in the Albemarle County budget for this coming year, so they are supporting and we plan to continue to go back to them. We have also gotten money from the, state of Virginia, in the Virginia budget. Again, it's all sort of seeding it, so we don't see whatever they've given as their final gift, because this will be over time. But 100%, yes, the municipalities and the state, I mean, this is added value to our city, this is added value to our region, and it's really important, so thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. I live.
Okay,
I can hear you, yeah.
So I lived really close to my park, one thing specifically that changed for the park, it's a little more passions. Done a little bit of data work with other nonprofits, just about
Who is,
who your contributors were. So I know you get bulk donation, bulk small donations, that are important, but then take or something. From a few individual. Those are the things that are the issue with. Notes about some T-ball this week, Saturday mornings at that park are crazy, so I don't know if I say it. There's donors for every one of those. There's hundreds of people. If there's some sort of information sharing on Saturday mornings, it's right, just that. Sponsoring with some balls.
That's a good idea, that's really smart. One of the things I brought some donors to Penn Park, and one of the things that I think is lacking is our coming soon signage, if you will, at Penn Park, like just having that there as well, I think would be similar. If we do have a sign, when you first come in, but I think we would benefit from one at the playground as well, maybe if one or two back there as well. Yeah. Jodi.
I was just thinking, because, sorry, you say, so we have also worked with our developers to figure out a way to keep the existing playground in place while much of the construction is happening, because we realize it's a really important play space for the community there. So, our phasing is taking into consideration a way to be able to keep as much of the existing, or at least part of the existing play space usable while other construction is happening.
All right, we have time for one more, so we can know where. Oh, we'll go know it in there, if that's okay, because we lost two.
okay, well, in keeping with that, actually, the one point of your presentation that I had a question about was how your space integrated into the existing park. So Penn Park's very big, it might have been, off in some corner. It's not clear to me how the existing, I can't really see the.
So the existing is the purple, that's sort of where the existing is, there's the existing restroom and shelter up at the top. Existing parking,
Okay,
so it's basically building out in what is a lot of grassy area right now.
okay, yeah, that might be something to help people visualize, particularly as
Yeah.
you mentioned, Penn Park's one of the big and important parks in Charlottesville, and people know what it is. And so talking about how you integrated with existing space might help the locals.
Right.
I thought she had like said.
I did kind of glaze over that, but I'm gonna keep that as a note to continue in my presentation to include for sure.
Hi there. First off, I wish you had done this like 15 years ago, because I have special needs child. But so in my last job, I led our corporate social responsibility at Fortune 500 as an additional duty. And I think to your marketing pitch, I think that corporations are always looking at things that they can sponsor for their employees and improving their quality of life contributions and things like that. And the pitch that we would have received at a corporate level from this would have focused a little bit more on the demographics of like the current playground situation in town, why this is important, some statistics, you might have these already just on what value these things add to communities that have done it. And then kind of with your cost breakdown is showing like what your, so like I probably would have approved 500K this year for this project if it didn't see that.
Thank you so much.
I don't see what it is.
Yeah.
I don't do that anymore, but that was in Seattle. So. And you want to find the companies like that in Charlottesville that are invested in like the messaging of supporting their employees and their children and the community. And so your marketing message, like right now, this presentation was focused on what you're doing. So like my advice is focused more on the impact on the community of what you're doing and what you're doing.
That's great, thank you. I love having the idea of like a graph of the existing playgrounds, what they include, what they don't, so you can really visually see what is available now. Thank you.
That's great, let's put your contact information back up, do you want to set that, we can have that rotating. So any more ideas, please do not hesitate to reach out. It is, we have it on the rotating slide too at the end, we'll put that back up at the end, so you can make sure that you are able to get in touch with, I guess the email goes directly to Kara, right?
It does, yeah. She'll forward things to me.
Okay, yeah. So you could reference that you had Heather at Ce2, and then she'll see it as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you all.
And then we'll show you
I
again.
had hours more.
Yeah.
Thank you. So we're.
I don't know what was glitching with the mics for a second. All right, so while we're switching out the computers, one wants to recognize my face. All right. I am looking forward to introducing our next speaker, Bill Lanzana. A little bit about his background. He grew up in Mahopac, New York, and was a trailing spouse down to Charlottesville, which is great because we've, Charlottesville community, gotten the benefit of his work now for quite a while. He has his degree in finance and began right out of school as a financial analyst, and then continued in financial strategy, consulting, and is now co-founder of Ford Financial Intelligence. Here he applies a unique combination of finance with an aptitude for programming and databases, and his accumulated really 30 years of experience that spans just a range of industries and roles and applications. And if you know Tracy Green, she dubs him as a financial wizard, which is a compliment, and said a lot of companies have really benefited from his knowledge. So in his spare time, he enjoys cooking, gardening, and cruising farmers market with his wife, Angela. And a fun fact about him is he climbs Kilimanjaro. So we have a pro here, and so we're gonna get his slides up because he wanted to share with some talking points. And I think there's just a delay in getting it plugged in. So we'll intro Bill Lanzana.
Can I do it? I think it just, there's just.
We'll give it a second. You can give him a hand at a time.
Okay, good morning. Excited to be here today. I think Ce2 was fairly new when I first started attending these events, some years ago. We started at the garden I left. And I've had the pleasure over the years of listening to many entrepreneurs and learning from them. I'm really excited to present today. I want to talk about how I stumbled from a long career working for large companies and ultimately co-founding a company here in Charlottesville. Who is an entrepreneur? So I like this question today because I never really thought of myself as an entrepreneur. My risk taking is more methodical and bold. I tend to analyze and plan more than dive into something. And while I've always been entrepreneurial, I just didn't view myself. That was my bad habit. Many of us tend to go on vacation by ourselves, and we should. We all have a different journey, and there's always time to pursue our dreams. So while I showed early signs of entrepreneurship coming along, was really 10 years old and operating a mobile car detailing service in high school and college. I went off to college, really. Studied finance, minored in computer programming, passed analysis, was interesting. I discovered the beauty of spreadsheets and really what they look like back then. I graduated, took a job with an investment bank, some Wall Street in General, and commuted to Wall Street from the northern suburbs of New York City and back. That consumed 4 hours on Metro North in the subway. But for the next 10 years or so, I worked my way up and around as a business, financial analyst, and a variety of companies. So about 10 years in, I left after 1 year, one particular stop, there were insightful differences with the manager. And this was the first time I said I wouldn't go back to working for a big company. This also, in my opinion, is why you see so many founders start an organization and then move on once it gets to a certain stage of growth. There just isn't a lot of tolerance for the inevitable politics and as the number of people grow in an organization. And you can see my pyramid chart here. As the organization gets larger number of people, the politics rises dramatically, and its virtue as a meritocracy declines equally rapidly. This is worse for fast-growing organizations because in order to grow fast, you need to hire fast, which is almost impossible to do without cheating the value of the organization. When values are compromised in order to hire and grow fast, this evolution becomes inevitable. So after stints at Siemens Healthcare and Strategy Hyperion Consulting, in 2017, I decided to hang a shingle and call myself the CEO advisor. At that point, I had accumulated 10,000 hours a few times over in various areas of disciplines, and I wanted to share that knowledge and experience with small businesses. And also, I really didn't want to work for anybody again. CVIC and Tracy in particular were instrumental in my initial traction. Tech and Ce2 were two great opportunities each month to get out, meet people, connect, and have conversations. It was really critical in getting some initial traction. And like CVIC, small businesses are a passion point, as they are always been the engine for our economy, not only in terms of economic output, but they also produce a disproportionate share of new jobs. So what advice would I have for my younger self? Well, some of these were instinctive for me. It would have been helpful to have been more mindful of all of these things on a regular basis when I was impatient and frustrated with the pace of my professional progress. So focus on the accumulation of profit experiences, be less concerned about optimizing income. Mindfully cultivating soft skills, empathy, compassion, patience, understanding of superpowers. Becoming someone who gets stuff done. So overwhelmingly talk about this recently. Be problem solving, be a person who says I figured this out and get it done. Be confident about yourself. Another thing I read recently, if you're gonna lose catering, you might as well be on yourself. Everybody tells us to do something we love, but if you're really good at something, and you can tolerate doing, trust that it will lead to doing something that you're really good at and love doing. And keep learning and becoming an expert. Don't stop at your 10,000 hours. We're in complacency. The world is changing extremely fast. A lot of the things that you can master and become experts in are more or you're wrong. So constantly have to keep working at improving. By focusing on the things we can control, things like these, trust that when you cultivate your expertise, your soft skills, your grit, and confidence, that these qualities cannot be given. So some FFI learnings and validations. One of the advantages of starting a business at nearly 50 is you've already figured out a lot of things. Just when you go out and do it, trust yourself. So defining the values for your new organization, these values will be your best guide for difficult decisions. Bryce, my partner, and I spent a couple hours holed up with Joshua Renee and his small team, doing this sort of work before we got started. It was probably the most important thing that we did. And hiring people is the most important thing you'll do as you operate and grow your organization. Developing a consistent screening process is key to making good, consistent choices and ensuring that the people you hire are aligned with your values. Follow the rule. This is basic as it gets, but really every day when you're making decisions, you're empathetic, you treat others, you want to be treated. Employees, partners, clients, this is the easiest way to figure that stuff out. Make a plan. Don't spend too much time detailing overly elaborate plan. None of us have a crystal ball. We're not going to predict the future. Trying to finish the Black Swan right now. It's a great book. It's a good reminder that spending a lot of time trying to predict the forecast is not. Build on your strengths. Partner and hire complement strengths. I was extremely fortunate. Tracy actually introduced Bryce and I, and we are incredibly complementary to our strengths and weaknesses. So I'm very fortunate. And it's a great way to partner and hire. Always think about how to balance yourself out. And then last but not least, the 80-20 rule. As entrepreneurs, there's never enough time in the day. 36-hour day. So we got to know where to focus. You know that there's only so much we do, and we all do what we do. It's sort of the next step. That's what I have. Any questions?
Thank you. Is there, so when you first went on your own as CBO advisor, because you didn't want to work for anybody else, what was the hardest thing about going on your own that you didn't anticipate?
I guess the hardest thing was the selling and marketing and the network that I didn't do, but it's going to be hard. And it really, again, see if I can Tracy make that easier for me. Right before that, I was a travel consultant. I was out of town for 4 weeks a year, so I was not really kind of the natural part of the community. I was away from me to get out and see people and make connections. And one client, a second client, all of that.
And with the lessons that you learned along the way, can you think of any of those lessons that you learned because they were lessons that you learned the hard way? Like, whether any of those things were like, man, I learned that one in a painful way, but now I know. Whether it was one of your, operating in your strengths, or 80/20 rule, or just any of those that you have out there? Can you think of any?
I think in my career, like, at various stops at different companies, many of them were not aligned with my values. They were big companies. Back then, I don't think many of them thought about having values. And inevitably, you just become unhappy in that organization. It's a mistake I made many times over. Get in your career mode and you just kind of find the next job for something that would have the wrong thing or the wrong place.
So kind of just taking an opportunity, but not really vetting it for its values and culture and things like that.
Can you tell us a little bit more about your company and what you do?
Sure. F5 provides fractional financial accounting services, advisory services to small businesses and nonprofits in the community. For the last several years, accounting as a profession has fallen out of favor. Most organizations, in the last few decades, often relied on one person. Some people would call, full-time bookkeeper, who often took care of all the administrative things, the books, just the benefits they don't get. And those folks are living like dinosaurs because they're all my age, older, retiring now. They were always overworked. I think younger people look at that line of work as that I ain't doing that. So a lot of organizations now are finding it really difficult to bring in house accountants there. And if they find a bookkeeper, they don't have the range of skills they need. So we can provide those services fractionally. Payroll, network to staff accounting all the way up to project controlling. CFO work to do some planning and forecasting and capital allocation.
I've seen these types of companies before. A lot of them have a threshold for engagement. Do you have a threshold for engagement with companies? Meaning, how much do they need to be making before you even entertain a conversation with them?
So at the very beginning, it was just about any clients. We have some really small clients. And really, we still have a handful of small clients that, will go on a small quarterly bill. But it's still an amount that will have to make budget. But we are kind of moving to the large organization as we grow.
Hello, I don't have a question, but I have just an observation. I was an advisor for one of your clients and had a phenomenal experience over the course of 18 months interacting with your whole team across all the things. A phenomenal experience. You guys do a great job.
Thank you. It's great to hear.
So for hiring, you mentioned it. We're not replacing them, right? My son's a senior in college, and I said, "Have you thought about it?" He goes, "No." And he's a finance major. So, what do you guys do? Where do you backfill as you're growing? Where are you finding people that are qualified to help these positions?
So we're not a public accounting firm, so we don't need to hire CPAs, we don't do our work. So we feel like we created a great place to work, a great culture for accountants that aren't just interested in applying to a public accounting firm. And one of the things I used to do early on as a CBO advisor was, the accounting 101 class, right? Just about anybody that was interested. Oftentimes, entrepreneurs that were starting off just had absolutely no accounting knowledge foundation. I put together a worksheet where I could put an hour to teach that first semester of accounting to somebody, and they will practice, they have a pretty good foundation of text practice. Would go a long way to help them.
I'm really curious about your philosophy with regard to strengths. And when you're hiring, how worried are you about formal credentials versus just somebody you can tell you're kind of looking for, are they good at it, even if they didn't go to school for accounting, for example. So, you know, you need a formal HR department, and you just sort of like, you know, read the tea leaves on their aptitude.
I always preferred aptitude over experience. And early on, we did some hiring along those lines, where we did a lot of training. As we've grown, we do need some folks that had a few years of good accounting instincts, understand their way around balance sheet. So we're constantly trying to strike that balance. But and we have some things here that who those are recruiting and hiring on the team. Yeah, aptitude over experience.
So since culture and values were things that you felt like were missed with large corporations you were with, when you're hiring, is that something that you kind of present what your company's values are and culture and kind of lead with that or have that on the forefront in your recruiting process?
Yep, absolutely. It's first and foremost. See Lindsay smiling.
Can I please answer all the questions? I do start for by the way, we are also hiring, so if you all know anybody, send them our way. I really believe that. I know. So one thing also that I wanted to add to all of that, we're really focused on experience and not necessarily degrees. Obviously, we keep an eye on that, especially when we're trying to do higher level, but we are really focused on trying to grab some young folks in the community that have a lot of potential and have zest and energy and get excited about it. Bring them in, keep them with our culture that we're hoping is authentic and excited, and you know, we do fun activities and we really put people first. So just as far as like building a business, like we have what we call flexible PTO. We trust everybody to be grown adults and take what they need and not abuse the system, and things like that that are really appealing to the younger generation. So we're really trying to build that within and build the skills while they're with us, because if they're excited, they're gonna make use of our training opportunities, become better, and instead of just hearing about CPA work and thinking, that's not for me, getting into the work and getting really excited and finding their niche and going from there and kind of building the skills within. That's our hope. So.
Any more, we can probably do one more question for Bill. Does anyone else have one? All right, Lonnie.
I just heard about your company today, I apologize. Do you guys help with valuations for small businesses?
We can. We can provide a lot of perspective and analysis on how to get started. But typically for most small businesses, it's a lot more art than science.
Yeah, I agree. I think in my experience, corporately, they focus on valuation. Small business, they lose focus, and you know, most of the return of the business is coming from the dollars they put in. So, you know, it used to be you paid an accounting firm $10,000 to do a valuation. Now with technology, you pay $50 a month subscription, and it's still legitimate, which is driving me crazy, but that's my experience today that I found with small business owners. They can use that push on the right decisions with their capital to create valuation in their business, because they're always going to think it's worth more than their buyer will. So having legitimate data and numbers to back up their valuation has been very important for us. So just thought I would ask.
Do you have your contact information? And if not, we have it on the rotating slide. All right, we'll switch back, Amanda, to the rotating slide. So you guys have both speakers' contact information, and just really appreciate you sharing. I'll give them a hand. Alrighty. All right, so as we wind down, the rest of, we move into announcements. So what that looks like is you'll have the opportunity to share if there's any upcoming events that you'd like the room to know about, or if your company is hiring, you can also share that. But we're gonna start with the three hosting organizations to share about events and things like that first. And then we will let you all volunteer to do that. So I guess we're starting with Amanda. Are you ladies coming down too? Okay, we'll start with Amanda with CBIC. It is just delayed, I think, all of them.
Hi, I'm Amanda Waskowski, Deputy Director at CBIC, the Charlottesville Business Innovation Council. We're one of the co-hosting organizations for this event. And we also have a second Tuesday Tech on Tap evening event. So you can join us there every second Tuesday at Jodi. You can sign up on Eventbrite. If you sign up today for Ce2, you'll be able to find us there. And I don't have any other specific things to announce, except that we are planning a first of its kind innovation forum for this coming October. And the topic for the forum is going to be sustainability in the built environment. So if you are a developer, a builder, designer, maker, or especially if you're doing really new, groundbreaking, innovative things in that space, come talk to me afterwards. So we're looking for speakers, presenters, exhibitors, and just feedback from folks who might potentially want to attend an event like that. So that is slated for October 25th up at North Fork. It's a Friday, so it's the date. Hello, I'm Ariel Butter. I'm the Assistant Director at the Central Virginia Small Business Development Center. If you all don't know about us, we offer free of charge one-on-one confidential business advising. We also host a variety of training and events. One of the training programs that we have coming up is our Business Essentials Training Program. It's a 5-week series, and it starts this Wednesday from 4 to 6, starting with business planning. And each week we do a different business topic of like understanding your customers, pricing, marketing, and bookkeeping. So you can find more information on our website, cbsbdc.org. The other thing that we have coming up for innovative startups is our pitch preview. That is an opportunity to practice your pitch presentation in front of accredited investors with the Charlottesville Angel Network. And this is a chance to just get feedback for your pitch presentation that you can actually use and apply for pitch. So that's what we have going on. And again, cbsbdc.org. Oh, sorry. The deadline for the pitch preview is February 29th for the opportunity to pitch on March 7th.
Hi, my name is Hannah. I work at Community Investment Collaborative, or CIC, which is a nonprofit that helps small businesses and entrepreneurs. We only really have one announcement, which is not quite official, but we'll be opening a position for a loan officer soon, possibly as soon as next week. So if that interests you, or you know someone who might be interested, you should just keep an eye on our website. Also, we have a newsletter sign up back there, so we will be including that in the newsletter when it next goes out. For those who are unfamiliar with CIC, we of course help small businesses and entrepreneurs, and we do that primarily through financing, mentoring, and education. So we have an entrepreneur workshop that's 60 weeks. We offer that twice per year, and the spring and the fall. We have about 560 graduates so far and counting. Many of our clients have businesses in Charlottesville, including, I think we have about, 60% of McIntyre Plaza, for those of you who've been over there. And we have a financial management program. We have a mentorship program. We also have a very small but lovely co-working space. And if you're interested in any of those offerings, you can read more on our website. You're also welcome to email me at hannah@cicbuild.org. I actually remember business cards mostly because Shira, my colleague, put them in our bag, so you can come back and grab them from both of us. And we are the host organization of the Small Business Development Center that Ariel just told you about. I think that covers everything. I'm usually here for every CE2, but I haven't actually been here since August, I think. So if you come regularly, hopefully we'll be seeing you around. Thank you to everyone who registered for today. That's always helpful for us just to keep track of who's here, how many people we have. So yeah, feel free to come say hi afterwards.
All right, so now just to wrap up, if you would like to share about any upcoming events or if your company's hiring, just stand up and project. We won't pass the mic around for this one, but go ahead and share if your company's hiring or events.
Yes, we have a, live demonstration today, but not our fire.
Very cool, there'll be flyers in the back. Okay, awesome. Okay,
Hey everyone, I'm not hired, but it's an announcement. So, with already graduated, but I'm starting up a business that is in virtual nursing and virtual healthcare. We are located in Richmond, and we're hoping to have strong ties within the community. So, if you're in that space of healthcare, want to collaborate, please let me know. My name's Louis.
okay.
Right now, for my clients,
Great, so free solar training certifications in March. Okay,
And exactly what you're talking about, values. And expecting for individuals, as long as it's I have. It's a free customer. And I also am offering free lunch awards for next month. If you have just 2 people.
awesome, so flyers in the back for her. Anybody else? I'll announce a couple of companies hiring. And you have obviously mentioned where financial intelligence is hiring specifically.
We have a custody gap for local level, but honestly, generally, every day, we are not a program.
So evergreen hiring, right there, I like that. All right, and then, let's see, I knew some companies looking for, I have 2 remote roles, so a enterprise sales rep, so somebody very talented in sales that works with large accounts and is strong on prospecting, and that's a fully remote role. And then also somebody that's kind of on an operations track in a financial firm, maybe even interested in getting your CFP, to kind of come alongside a planner, that's also a remote role. And then random, but an attorney willing to live in Culpeper. So those are the roles that I'm looking for. You can find me on LinkedIn, on Hutchin. And so yeah. Awesome. So thank you all so much for sharing, Heather, Bill, and just making this a successful C2. We'll be back here March, I believe 20th. No, wait, hold on, this is very important. There's a date change in March. So it's always the third Tuesday, except we have a scheduling conflict in this space. So in March, we're gonna be the fourth Tuesday. Okay? So if you come here on the third Tuesday, you'll be part of another event. But we intentionally moved it after Civil War so that you'll realize, oh, I didn't miss it. I can come again the next Tuesday. So I think it's the 26th. Yeah. Okay, so put that on your calendar now. March 26th is a kind of a one-off. We're not gonna, that's not the plan. It's always the third, but in March is the fourth, and we'll start lasting online communications. Tell your friends the fourth Tuesday in March. We probably should have had the next date slide, but we do like you to register on CE2, or on the, what is the link? It's CE2.civil.innovation.org.
If you go to civilinnovation.org, which is the CVIC website, there's a tab for.
The civil.innovation.org, there's a tab for CE2, is another way to do it, but if you register, it's gonna remind you. I would like you to register anyway. So thank you all so much for, we can be in this space till 10. Thank you for the partnering organizations, code-based co-working, et cetera. And we'll see you next month.